This episode of the Tekzilla is brought to you by GoDaddy, Netflix, and Squarespace. Coming up, HP's TouchSmart PC, worth the cost or just money down the drain? Hard drives, hard drives, hard drives. Bigger capacity or faster spindle speed? That's the question. And can you get a decent subwoofer on the cheap? The answer may surprise you. So clear those empty champagne bottles off the keyboard, because the first Tekzilla of 2009 starts now. Welcome to Tekzilla. I'm Patrick Norton.
And I'm Veronica Belmont.
Good holidays?
Yes, very good holidays.
I hear there was baby mayhem on the flight home.
Oh, there were...
Even the goodness of Virgin Airlines could not protect you from five babies on one plane.
Counting 5 babies, ready to ruin my flight. Yeah, no, they were, I'm okay with 1 or 2 babies on aircraft. I mean, I understand babies have to travel like the rest of us.
As a parent, I appreciate your...
No, yes, I would not judge you for bringing young Seamus on an aircraft with you. But you know what? 5 babies, and when they all start crying in like a domino effect, like one starts and then the other's like, holy crap, I'm gonna start crying now too. That sounds pretty fun.
I've seen the same thing happen with frat boys and drunks.
Ah, touche. Yes. Well, it was an okay flight though. I saw Iron Man for the first time.
You hadn't seen it?
I hadn't seen it, so I watched it on a little like 5-inch screen. But it was still really good.
We could have loaned you a freaking Blu-ray version of it.
I just never got around to it. I know.
Never got around to it?
My geek cred just went like pew.
Geek cred didn't go pew. Your comic book movie cred
Well,
may be a little...
I loved it though. I did think it was really fun.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I am not... yeah, I am.
And you may see me acting a little weird on the show today. It's because I pinched a nerve in my neck, and so I have to like stand like a robot. And I have to like turn to look at you because it's incredibly painful to move my head.
And we've actually packed you full of over-the-counter drugs, none of which are touching the pain.
No, not really doing much. I smell like all minty fresh. If you can smell it, I'll waft it over your direction. And that would be the icy hot.
Yeah.
The icy hot, and I got
Suddenly,
those like
years of
thermal
rugby
packs
come back to me.
on my back. You know, the ones that are like the finger warmers that you put in your gloves when you're skiing and stuff. But they go on your back and they warm up on contact with your skin. So those helped a little bit, but not really. It's just gonna be a while until I'm back to my normal, vibrant self.
We won't discuss the tripling in size of my notebook hard drive this weekend then, because I don't want you to turn your head in excitement.
Wait, what? Why?
I made my hard drive bigger.
How? Oh, you mean literally, not like it didn't. Well, the thing is I actually witnessed a very large MacBook Pro hard drive that had it was actually a battery that had expanded because of the you know
I've
how
heard
they
about
do.
That.
That one actually happened.
That new multi-$1,000 notebook you bought? No, actually, no. I upgraded my notebook's hard drive.
Ah, excellent.
So now I have like 300 freaking gigabytes of space, which is awesome.
That's so awesome. Can you do that for me too?
You know, we can make a trip to the computer store. You can watch a particular episode of System that's coming out next Monday, and it'll be amazing.
I can do that. Well, first up, Andrew got a new computer for Christmas and writes in, I love the thing to death. I noticed upon initial boot up that there was a lot of trialware and other applications pre-installed that I will never use. I quickly deleted them to speed up my boot up process. My question is, though, on a Windows XP netbook, are there any tips or tricks to milk every last ounce of speed out of my little Atom processor? Andrew.
Okay. I personally think everybody should get every ounce of speed out of any processor, desktop or netbook, single or quad core, and you should definitely prep a new PC.
Yes.
There is an outstanding PCMag.com article everybody with a new machine should check out. It's called Make the Most of Your New PC by Eric Griffith, and it goes through everything from like how to tweak it, how to tweak the performance, imaging it so that if you do something terrible and wreck it, you can basically back everything up, setting up automated backups. It's awesome. It's like 12 steps to a happier, shinier new PC.
Yeah, because you don't have to deal with all that crud that manufacturers put on there.
It's
just like, why do I need this stuff, you know?
Well, yeah, bloatware, shovelware, crapware. I mean, we haven't run across any Atom-specific tweaks, okay? So if you got a netbook, the best thing we can do is more memory. We'll talk about that later. But updating XP in your drivers is an excellent first step. You've already deleted the bloatware off your machine. That's actually the second step in Eric's PC Mag article. He recommends the fabulously named, this is my new favorite website name in a while, PCDecrapifier.com, along with RevoUninstaller.com. It's sort of a 1-2 punch to help you eliminate all the shovelware.
Next up, try uninstalling any Windows features that you don't need, but I'd think about installing leaner, faster apps like Opera for a browser, for instance. And you can also make a list of services that you can turn off in Windows and max out the RAM also. You should be good for 1.5 gigabytes with a 1 gigabyte upgrade. There's a single DDR2 SD RAM slot in there. For anyone with a desktop or notebook, 2 gigabytes is great for anyone not doing video, audio, major photo editing, and that kind of stuff that we all like to fool around with once in a while.
Yeah.
But if you're making a career of it, you're probably going to need a little bit more than that.
Yeah, basically, if you are editing video or audio or huge Photoshop files, just hurl as many gigabytes of memory as your machine is it'll support, which will be somewhere between 3.5 and 8 billion.
Right, so that wasn't too Atom specific, but that should
No.
help at least with speeding things up a little bit on startup.
Well, it's amazing, like, you know, I mean, deleting shovelware, deleting stuff on startup you don't need, updating your drivers, and that alone can actually give you a nice healthy boost.
Yeah.
Deleting shovelware is huge.
So for people who don't know what shovelware is, how is that different from just regular old crapware?
Shovelware, bloatware, crapware.
It's all the same stuff, right? Or is there a difference?
Well, basically, it used to be really bad. There used to be like 1,400 different PC manufacturers out there. There'd be like Bob's PCs, and Bob would be like, "I'm going to give you 150 applications with my PC." So Ted was like, "I'm going to give you 250 applications with my PC." So you would end up with like 19 different, I don't know, solitaire games. I mean, there would just be like you're laughing, right? Or like, you know, it could be like, you know, the AOL installer, and then there'd be like, you know what I mean, there would be like 13 different installers for, you know, ISPs you'd never use, and it's basically all of this stuff. And PC vendors are getting better and better about putting less and less of it on your machine, because I mean, it used to be ridiculous. You used to have to like eliminate a gigabyte.
I remember.
You know,
It was kind of gratifying though. Like as soon as you got rid of all of it, you'd be like, ah, that's nice. That looks so much better now. Even just the shortcut icons that they would stick on the desktop. Like once those are all gone. Believe me, it's very cathartic. Like if you have a lot of shortcuts on your desktop, Mac or PC, it doesn't even matter. Try deleting them or putting them all in one folder. You'll feel so much better afterwards. It's like spring cleaning. I have seen your MacBook recently, and it is appalling. I don't know how you find anything. My best friend actually is a bit of a Luddite. She's very, very sweet, but she has an old MacBook, and it is. She doesn't put anything in any folders anywhere. It's all on the desktop. And I'm like, how do you find anything?
A neat desktop is a sign of a sick mind.
She uses the same excuse that I always used when I was a teenager. Like, I know where I put it. I can find it. You know, with your room at home, like your bedroom. I'm like, well, it's controlled chaos, so I know exactly where everything is within this room.
Your parents bought
Same
that?
with the desktop. No. Which is why I don't buy it with her either.
Mark writes in, I got in a heated debate with a friend about computer chips and the use of hertz, megahertz, and gigahertz in the chip description. My friend claims that these words refer to the frequency range the chip operates at, kind of like an FM radio. I say hertz means computations per second. What say you, Veronica and Patrick? That's from Mark in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, where we will be in like a week and a half, a week?
Well, when this episode is out, we will be there the week the episode comes out.
Consumer Electronics Show. If you're hearing about CES, there's some products you want us to check out, something you're curious about, you want our opinions, you just want to see if we can get pictures of it, email us, Tekzilla@revision3.com, and put CES in the subject line.
If you're going to be there, come check us out, because we're going to be doing live shows.
Yes, we are.
So they can come watch. Where are we going to be?
NBC Universal set, which should be in basically the central hall, and we'll put links to this up in the blog and on the webpage. And I believe at 4:30, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Nice.
Plus, rumor has it there's going to be yet another meetup, or actually maybe our first Tekzilla meetup.
Oh, are we going to go to the Double Down again?
Double Down.
Yay! Hey, is there a Double Down in New York also? I saw a Double Down saloon. Is it the same people?
It's supposed to be the same people.
Yeah, I walked by it actually. I'm like, Double Down?
Yes.
It's just like in Vegas.
Bacon teenies on the East Coast.
Ooh, I didn't get one last time, so I got to get one this time when we go.
I'll buy you a bacon teenie.
Yes. But we digress a little bit. Your friend is partially right. The frequency refers to the number of cycles the CPU goes through in a second. 1 hertz, of course, is 1 cycle per second. So a gigahertz, in this case, is 10 to the 9th power of cycles per second.
Which is far, far away from the 13 hertz, actually, my first. Anyhow, I'm dating myself. The speed rating is a bit misleading. After all, a dual-core CPU running at 2 gigahertz can run certain apps faster than a Pentium 4 that runs at 3 gigahertz because, well, the clock cycles don't equal the actual amount of work done, which is why chip manufacturers started decoupling the name of the processor from the speed of the processor. Anyhow, think of it like an RPM gauge on a car. It tells you how fast the engine's turning, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're driving very fast, which is what the speedometer is for.
That is an excellent analogy.
You may thank Roger Chang for that one, our fabulous producer.
Roger Chang, that was an excellent analogy. Two CPUs, like one from AMD and another from Intel, running at the same clock speed doesn't mean the performance is the same in terms of calculations performed. So while it can be used as a relative measurement of how much is processed, a far better measurement are flops, floating point operations per second. And plus they're called flops, which is hilarious.
Flops. And that's why people benchmark processors, because just because one says it's got a faster number of clock cycles doesn't mean it'll actually do more work than another one. Flops is actually really fun to say.
And also, of course, there's the all-time favorite way of figuring out if a computer is up to snuff. Will it run Crysis?
Still to come, HP's TouchSmart PC Blu-ray playback software. It's gotten better and the best subwoofer we know of for any price and on the cheap.
Well, now it's time for a message from one of our sponsors, Squarespace.
And here to tell us more about it, Revision 3's very own David Prager.
Hey, it's David Prager. I wanted to say a few things about Squarespace, who is sponsoring Tekzilla. They're a great web publishing platform that has so kindly decided to sponsor the show, and I'm thrilled because back when they were actually talking to us about sponsoring the show, I had the privilege of visiting their office out in New York. And Anthony Casanella, who actually coded the entire thing, walked me through the entire platform and everything that he does. What the platform allows you to do is pretty much do kind of a WYSIWYG effect on exactly what you want to see on your web page. They do hosting, they do all kinds of creations where you can build pretty much anything that any of the other web publishing platforms let you do. What I thought was cool is that they could take about anyone's website and recreate it using their own tools in a matter of minutes. I thought that was really cool. I myself am not an experienced web publisher at all. I've got a lot of friends that do it, obviously. I've hung out with a lot of people that use all these other applications that do the same thing, from hosting to designing, and use a lot of really high-end software. And I gotta tell you that after seeing everything that Squarespace did, I was completely convinced that I need to start a website. And I've been using it and playing around with it. And I'm really excited to be able to have them sponsor the show, and think that you should definitely go check it out. And if you don't have a website, or you're thinking about another place to create a website or make modifications to it, give it a shot over at squarespace.com.
Welcome to this week's Freebie Download Pick, a free program that we find useful, fun, or incredibly interesting. This week's pick, Camino. I've always been a huge supporter of Firefox, yet despite all the about::config tricks I've used to help cut back on memory leak and general lagginess, I've always had issues running it on OS X. Granted, maybe it has something to do with the add-ons I've always been running, but if you're still experiencing issues after turning all your add-ons off, maybe it's time to try something a little different. Camino is an open-source OS X optimized browser brought to you by the Camino project. Based on Mozilla's Gecko engine, it works on both PowerPC and Intel-based Macs, and its use of the Aqua interface helps it fit seamlessly with your other Mac apps. Some features that Mac lovers will find particularly beneficial are the keychain access for passwords online and the integration of enhanced AppleScript support. Don't think of Camino as the Mac version of Firefox. It actually predates the Mac build of Firefox, and unlike the popular browser, it can't install extensions per se. Well, there are some third-party add-ons, but they're not as prevalent yet. So if you're looking for a really sleek OS X optimized browser, give Camino a try. Trust me, it's my personal fave.
Moving on to another viewer question. Mark writes in, can you tell me what is the best external hard drive to get for backing up everything on my computer? Software, documents, files, drivers, operating system, XP, like ghosting my system. Mark in Michigan. Oh
Interesting.
boy.
Yeah, it's a bit of a religious war. I mean, people will argue constantly.
People, you and Tom
Right.
Merritt over at CNET are in this like running drag-out battle.
We actually had a little bit of an argument on Twitter over Felicia Day from the Guild. She was looking to buy well, we weren't arguing over her per se, but she was looking for a new external drive, and we both recommended different things, and then we both got mad at each other for the recommendations that we made, because I like the Western Digital MyBook, and I've used one for years and never had any trouble with it at all, and he recommended, something else, some other crap, I don't know what he even recommended, but he said that he had lots of trouble with the MyBook. Right. And so, it just depends on what experiences you've had, what you're running, what you're doing with the drive, or whether or not you just have a plain old dud.
Well, I mean, other options, pretty much there's companies you've never heard of that make their own branded external drives. They usually carry a Seagate or Western Digital or Hitachi or some other manufacturer of hard drive inside. In any case, I usually go with a DIY case in notebook, whatever the cheapest external drive case that's available at my local PC store over at Central Computers with the biggest drive I can buy. I'm partial to Seagate drive, so the Western Digital makes some kick-ass drives too. In either case, look for USB 2.0 FireWire combo drives if you can. And actually, if you're thinking about keeping this drive for a long time, getting eSATA would be a very good piece of future-proofing, because a lot of computers and notebooks even are starting to offer eSATA as an option. It is so much faster, and it is so much starting to be supported in newer desktops and notebooks, so keep an eye out for that.
If you're building your own external drive, you're going to need some software for that, like Disk Copy from ECS for PCs, and then we've got Super Duper or Carbon Copy Cloner for OS X, of course. Oh, and don't forget to catch next week's system episode, where they walk you through the process of cloning your drive. That's very kind of you.
Thank you. We show it off on a notebook, but it'll work for regular full-size PCs too. It's basically all about upgrading hard drives or cloning your hard drive, or just, it's good, you'll like it.
Good things to know for sure.
Up next, we got a video question from Carlos, who shot it on location, Stage 3, Columbia College Chicago's Audio Suite.
Woohoo.
When I'm not in the studio, I run Pro Tools on my MacBook Pro, but I'm running out of hard drive space. Would you recommend a faster, smaller hard drive or a bigger and slower one?
Wow, sweet, sweet, Carlos. Get it? That's an old audio joke.
That's a college
studio joke. Yeah, we weren't funny back then.
Actually, I bet you were hysterical.
Well, let's see, Carlos. If you want to get a 500 gigabyte notebook drive that spins at 5,400 RPM, or for the same price, pick up a 320 gigabyte hard drive that spins faster. Well, if you're looking at performance, spindle speed isn't the only thing to consider. Oftentimes, a larger capacity drive can be just as fast, if not faster, than a smaller capacity drive with a higher spindle speed, thanks to a phenomenon known as areal density. Did I say that right? Areal density?
Areal density is a great phrase. It's a measure of the quantity of information of bits that can be stored in a given length of track, area of surface, or in a given volume of a computer storage medium. Basically, it's how much data you can stuff into a given space. Larger capacity drives that use the same number of platters stick more data in the same space as a faster but smaller capacity drive. That density can actually make up for the slower spindle speed of the drive. In some tests, like the ones performed by Bare Feets, the larger capacity drive with a 5,400 RPM speed did as well as a faster but lower capacity drive. So it's definitely worth checking out the benchmarks out there. In most cases, we go with the larger drive just for the capacity, especially with the kind of stuff you're doing. The speed difference between the two isn't really enough to make us go with a faster but smaller drive, and in any case, both are a vast, vast, vast improvement over the drive you're carrying around now.
I asked that question, that initial question, way back when, because it's one of those words that I see written, but I don't say out loud very often. Do you have words like that?
I have a reader's vocabulary. I thought it was bedraggled until I was like 22.
I thought it was shargan. Shargan instead of chagrin.
Chagrin.
Now, if you
I
want
knew exactly what you meant.
Yeah, see, exactly. Now, if you want your 15 seconds of internet fame, send us in a video. All you need to do is record yourself in front of a camera asking a question no longer than 15 seconds. Then upload that puppy to YouTube and email us a link with video question in the subject line. And please, no attachments. And up next, we got HP's TouchSmart PC, which Patrick is already playing with over here. But before we get to that, it's time now for our Netflix-sponsored rental of the week. This week, Dexter. One of the best shows on TV. You might have missed this one if you don't have Showtime. It stars Michael C. Hall from 6 Feet Under as a forensics expert, actually a blood splatter expert, who moonlights as a serial killer. It's not quite as conflicting as you might expect. His knowledge of police procedure provides him with the insight needed to avoid getting caught. Plus, Dexter is careful to only victimize those who have killed others and have just slipped through the cracks and been released due to some loophole in the legal system. Brilliantly written with a fantastic cast all around, Dexter just finished up its 3rd season. You can catch seasons 1 and 2 on Netflix right now. And don't forget to check out the other 90,000 titles available at Netflix, including lots of Blu-ray titles with free shipping both ways to your home. And because they now have over 40 shipping centers, almost all deliveries happen in just 1 business day. The Netflix plans start from $4.99, but as a new member, you can get a no-risk 2-week free trial membership. Check it out at www.netflix.com/Tekzilla. And don't forget those dubs.
Looks like it's time for another website we just can't get enough of. That's a website we just can't stay away from because it's too useful, too funny, or just too darn irresistible. This week's pick, SmallNetBuilder.com. If you're thinking about buying a wireless access point, or you've been thinking about looking for new network-attached storage, if you're fascinated by the wonderful world of home networking, or just interested in a great collection of options, how-tos, reviews, or recommendations, then SmallNetBuilder.com is the website for you. This may be the last great collection of head-to-head performance roundups of NASs and wireless access points we can find anywhere on the internet. Check out the speed charts and just choose your topic for the links across the top of the page. Wireless LAN and WAN security, home control, it's all up there. So whether you need to secure your LAN, tunnel into your network from the other side of the world, or you need a recommendation on the best turnkey NAS on the market, SmallNetBuilder.com is a site you should definitely visit.
So we've had several requests from John, Manny, and Carl, for example, about HP's TouchSmart PC, this little guy we've got right here, the snazzy all-in-one machine that features a touchscreen in addition to a mouse for pointing devices. So, Pat, you managed to get one in the past couple of weeks. How has it been hanging for you?
It's actually been hanging out in my cubicle, and people have been hanging all over it. People love the touchscreen, and this is really all about the touchscreen and what they call the TouchSmart interface. And so we've got our calendar here, and basically the idea is, and John was saying, it's like, is this like a good kitchen PC? Is it a living room PC? And it kind of is, because the idea is you built in all of your basic functionality in here. And it's kind of interesting because like you can play video clips, and they've got an audio playback built into here, and photo, and you can create notes to leave for people. But something you can't actually do inside the TouchSmart interface is play DVDs. To do that, you've got to go out to the Media Center or the Windows Media Player.
Wait, what do you mean?
Well, I don't really understand it, but for some reason they didn't build the ability. You can play videos. You can play all the videos you want from inside the HP TouchSmart interface, but you can't actually play DVDs from that. They kind of strayed away from that for reasons I've never quite figured out. But the idea, though, is that you pick an application, let's say Internet Explorer, and it's going to launch. Now, there is a browser that's actually built into the TouchSmart Advisor, but it's pretty cool. Vista has hooks for tablet PC. TouchSmart uses them for all the Vista functions. So if you want to go in, like, okay, I hit that. You see that little pen writing a check thing in there? And that's going to launch the on-screen keyboard.
I loathe touchscreen keyboards.
Well, you know, that's the thing about, and this is probably the dividing line on whether or not you would use something like this, is whether or not you are interested in using the touchscreen. For some things, I think it's great. If you want to pick out, like you're picking an album, it's great. If you're entering in, websites, or if you want to do banking, you're probably going to turn around and be like, I want the keyboard.
I'm curious, does it have predictive text?
I don't really do well with predictive text, so I just kind of ignore it. For example, the iPhone's predictive text manages to actually slow me down a lot of the time.
Because I realized I just kind of almost made a hypocrite out of myself because I said that I hate touchscreen keyboards, but I've gotten really good with using the iPhone one. But for some reason, when I'm using them on a screen like this, I never can get it right.
I think mostly if you're looking at the applications that are part of the TouchSmart interface is really when it works best. Like I said, you want to go into music, you can go in. It's like, what's in there? Oh, we've got Beethoven, and I want to play that song, and it's great, and it's fabulous, and it's fine. And if I want to pause it, that's great. It's when you start getting into other things that, it'll definitely work, right? It's got a browser built in that works better. And where did it go? Whoops.
That's one of the downsides of having a touch screen. Sometimes you touch things you don't mean to.
Well, I got to say, it's a lot easier to operate this when you're sitting in front of it than when you're sitting on the side of it. So. Where did it go? Oops, there's the built-in browser. Now we're going to launch Mahjong. I swear I can actually operate this thing when I'm sitting in front of it. So, they've got one in here, but it's still the same thing. If you're not into touchscreens, you can't actually sit down and be like, I'm going to take that whole area and grab the keyboard. Want to type in Google real quick? So in that sense, it works pretty well. Excellent Bluetooth. The fit and finish on this is really solid. We were playing music on it earlier, and the built-in speakers, it's got a set of speakers built in that sound really good.
I did notice that this trip speaker here did sound pretty decent.
I was shocked at how good it sounds. Not as loud as I would have liked. But yeah, on-screen typing is always the slow, and it really is no matter what kind of device you're using. There's one weird thing about it is it won't play DVDs. You can get a Blu-ray drive with it, right? In the more expensive models, the regular models come with a DVD drive. You can't actually play DVDs or Blu-ray discs out of the Touch Smart interface.
Wait, what do you mean? So you can
Well, I could play
plug
videos.
them in there and use the remote, right?
Yeah, you're going to use like Media Center or the Windows Media Player.
But you can't sit here and press play on the DVD and play it.
Well, you can, just not inside of the Touch Smart interface. You're going to go to the Media Center or something else. I didn't really understand that either.
HP, you want to clear that up for us a little bit? Drop us a line, let us know why, because I'm very curious now.
It does a great job of playing, DVDs. We didn't have any problem with it. There's a copy of Big Lebowski in here. 22 or 25.5-inch touchscreen, depending on which model you get. $1,200 to $2,000. Core 2 Duo processors. Top of the line models come with Blu-ray drives for Blu-ray playback. It's not really a gaming PC. The graphics aren't that hot. And as a media PC, it's kind of interesting. If you have it on your desk, you've got this great way to be like, some people have like that desk in the living room where people like do their checks or the homework and stuff. This is perfect for that. As a home theater PC, unless you want to use that 22 or 25-inch screen or 25.5-inch screen, it's not going to work so well because there's no HDMI or DVI output.
It would be really great for a college student, I bet, though, because they could have it as their media center and also their workstation.
Yes.
So they could do homework and then do all their entertainment stuff on here as well and not have to sacrifice that extra space it would take to have a TV and a computer in the room.
It's, and the price, I've seen these for $1,200, just under, like, right around $1,200. And I don't know if that is so much the post-Xmas, 70,000% off everything, but they're regularly selling for $1,300.
So overall, what did you think?
I like it. It's not the kind of thing I would probably use because we use notebooks for everything in my house because my wife has a notebook, I have a notebook, the cat has a notebook, the dog has a notebook. If you wanted like one machine sitting in some place that you use to control stuff in your house, this would be a really good way to do it. And it actually, if you can get over the whole touchscreen typing, you can do it, but you know what? It's got a great Bluetooth keyboard and mouse that's included with it.
I do actually like this keyboard quite a bit. It's a lot sturdier than it looks.
There's a lot of cheap keyboards, even cheap Bluetooth keyboards out there. This is not one of them. The fit and finish on this is really, really nice.
Excellent. Well, yeah, I can see why it wouldn't be good for your cat, because the nails, the little cat nails would not do so hot on the touchscreen, I would imagine.
But it does click really well. It's very strange, like, you've got the weather. Ta-da!
Ba-ba-da!
If you're looking at this going, I need that for the kitchen or the living room, you know who you are. For everybody else, I like the idea. Dorm room PC would be another great place for it.
Definitely something to look into.
Coming up, the best subwoofer for under $500 and our favorite, well, actually, say my favorite. I don't want to speak for Veronica.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, Blu-ray playback tool. But first, a word from one of the sponsors that makes this show possible, GoDaddy.com. If you want to make an impact online, GoDaddy.com has what you need. .com names for as low as $1.99, plus world-class hosting, fast and easy website builders, and much more. Your website visitors, prospects, and customers are wary of websites and online businesses that aren't what they claim to be and worried that their personal and financial information could fall into the wrong hands. Turn your visitors' concerns into a competitive advantage with the ironclad protection of a GoDaddy.com secure certificate. You want the hookup? We got it for you. Enter in code TEK5, that's TEK5 when you check out, and you'll save an additional $10 off any order of $40 or more. Some restrictions apply. Please see the site for details. Get your piece of the internet at GoDaddy.com and support Tekzilla by supporting our sponsors. For some reason, a lot of folks were in a home theater mode. Well, at least you'd think so based on our next two questions. The first one comes from Kevin, who twittered in, I've been looking for an alternative to CyberLink Power DVD for Blu-ray playback. You should do a roundup on Tekzilla. Okay, Kevin. Here's the roundup. I've moved from CyberLink's Power DVD 8 Ultra to ArcSoft's Total Media Extreme, which works with Windows MCE. That's the Media Center Edition, which means you can use your cool guy Media Center Edition control. Like
this one we just happen to have right here.
On the set. And it also still plays back HD DVD discs if you happen to have a Blu-ray/HD DVD drive and older HD DVD discs, which perhaps only Roger Chang and myself do. But
you can find them on the cheap, though.
Yes, you can, at least for the next couple weeks while they're still available.
Right.
Yeah, really, I have a roundup of one. ArcSoft Total, or actually I should say two, because ArcSoft's Total Media Theater costs $50 less than Extreme, skips the HD editing tools, and concentrates on Blu-ray and HD DVD playback. It is really, really good, and pretty much one of your only two options, or three if you count the two different TotalSoft tools.
Is it a roundup when there's only two?
That's a good question. It's a comprehensive roundup because I've used them both thoroughly. Tim Seeley wanted to know if we had any compatibility issues with Blu-ray HD DVD playback. I'm still stuck, he says, with the CyberLink software that came with his Blu-ray drive. I have had zero problems with any of the Blu-ray or HD DVD discs I've run through either application, actually. Although I have to use my older version of Power DVD to actually play HD DVD drives because the newer versions eliminate HD DVD support, which annoys me, but in reality, most people are never going to play an HD DVD drive on a home theater PC.
I like the idea of people asking us questions on Twitter.
Does it make you happy?
It does make me happy. I think that if you want to ask us a question, don't worry, I won't get too far involved in this, that if you want to ask a question, you should add the little hashtag that's #Tekzilla at the end so we can search for him on Twitter search.
Personally,
or you could just email them, I guess, if you want to be old school.
No, I actually respond to questions inside of Twitter. When you have 141 characters, I hate to think people would have to sort of do meta tagging, so you could do post Twitter searches based on the meta tag
Hashtags are the wave
data.
of the future, man. The wave of the future, organizing our data across the board over any social network.
Our last viewer question of the day comes from Jim, who writes in, I'm looking for a good subwoofer in the $300 to $500 range. I got a pair of Klipsch SF-1 speakers from a few years back, and I'm totally happy with them. I also have a Klipsch center, rear surround speakers, and Onkyo receiver, but I've always been missing the subwoofer. Be still my aching heart. He initially was going to buy a Klipsch subwoofer, but read some so-so reviews for the mid to low end line. Also, what do you think about the SU STF-1, Jim? Dude,
Well.
he's read my mind.
Yeah?
Shu makes outstanding subwoofers. That's pretty much, they actually now do some bookshelf speakers, but they were built on their subwoofers and their delete expletive amazing. I love Klipsch speakers. I think Klipsch speakers are great. Klipsch subwoofers are okay. But if you want the best, like, just ass-kicking, pounding musical score, make your Tchaikovsky scare the hell out of the cat and the neighbors, you're going to do great with a Shu subwoofer.
You know, I really like the Onkyo system because I have an Onkyo 5.1 at home for my home theater, and it's worked fine for me. I mean, I don't know if it's the same as buying it standalone as opposed to in the whole set, so maybe it's a better deal to get the Shu one.
Well, he's got the receiver,
Yeah.
and then he's got a set attached to a set of Klipsch surround sound
I'm
speakers.
just saying, like,
He just doesn't
Onkyo
have
has
the subwoofer.
done me well in the past.
So you're saying you like the Onkyo
I do.
subwoofer?
Yes.
What if you can buy it separate from the speakers?
That's what I'm wondering. I don't know if you can buy it standalone.
It's a good question. If you're looking for a subwoofer, though, the Shu has a range of models. Basically, they start with like the small room model, which is the one you mentioned, and they go up to absolutely frightening. I have a 46,000 square foot living room, and I want to scare the neighbors into submission.
So you guys did a whole subwoofer placement thing on System, didn't you?
Well, actually, one of the coolest tips I've ever heard about surround sound speaker placement, we got to interview a bunch of the engineers at Dolby around
I
how
was so mad when you got to do that.
It was
so
really
jealous.
cool, and if you ever get a chance to tour Dolby, go in there, and it's the surround sound systems are phenomenal. In any case, got a great tip for you. Go to the Dolby episode of systemrevision3.com/system/Dolby, and there's some great tips on how to place that subwoofer for maximum impact.
Well, you have had quite enough pimps for System on this episode, I must say.
It won't happen again.
Quite
I
enough
promise
out of you. I'll let it slide this time, but no more. Hurts my feelings that I'm not involved.
Do you want to be involved in System?
Yes.
We can make that happen.
Maybe one time.
One time?
One time?
One time only?
Okay.
Want to build a subwoofer with on System?
Yes.
Build a subwoofer for my truck on System.
Yes.
You in?
Woo!
Shu actually
I'm
just started
in.
doing subwoofers for vehicles.
In like Flynn.
It's going to be rocking. For everybody out there watching, we live on your questions. So rock our world by emailing us, Tekzilla at revision3.com. Tech help, product reviews, how-tos. You ask us, we'll deliver or do our damnedest to try delivering. But we need those emails, so don't be shy. Send them into Tekzilla at revision3.com.
Even better, send us in a video question. Think of all the fun you can have and the admiration of all your friends and family when they see your mug on our show. Just keep it to 15 seconds, upload it to YouTube, and send us a link in an email with video question in the subject line. And as always, you can visit our forums at revision3.com/forum. Plus, we want to thank Adagio Tea for helping to create my very own blend of tea, Veronica's Berry Zinger, which is berries and cream and Earl Grey. So it's a delicious berry treat. If you want to taste it, you can order one at adagio.com/Tekzilla, and you need to start working on one.
It's not a very delicious treat.
Oh, touche. Well done, sir.
Thanks so much for watching. I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
We'll see you next time.
Tekzilla.
Woo!
It's sound effects, sound effects.
You wanna know? Should put your life into a world.
There's sound effects. There's sound effects.
No, that's a real.
That's not.
What's that? Ow!
I'm gonna get
Ah! Ha ha! Right in the crotch. All the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies.
That's not Swedish, but it's the right song.
Plus, we want to thank Adagio Tea for helping us to create my very own blue. It's not blueberry. You jackasses. Drink. No.
Boy, you really better be committed to doing that.
Why? What are you gonna do? I'm hurt. What are you gonna do to me?
You know, the beautiful thing about spending a bunch of time playing rugby is you realize people who are injured often do foul and despicable things, thinking that you won't do foul and despicable things back to them. Just while Veronica tries to figure out how to reattach her severed arm.
Now it's time for a message from one of our sponsors, Squarespace.
Here to tell us more about it, Revision 3's very own David Prager.
Lemons melon? Yes. Oh, now it's perfect with the eyes.